Hello everyone, Namaste. Before continuing the Yogasutras, I would like to talk about thought waves and character. And we carry the impressions from our experiences, right? From those experiences, we learn some things like about our manas, what we like and what we dislike, and sometimes we also need to unlearn those things according to the situations and what our path is leading towards. And next thing comes, that is relearn, refreshing our mind with new stuff that will be even more useful for us, for our character development, for managing our emotions, to vent out things that we will be carrying, the impressions we'll be carrying. Okay. When we talk about learning, unlearning, and relearning, we have to know what to learn from the next step we take, and when to actually unlearn the things that are no longer useful for us, and what to relearn again and how to relearn again. Those things we have to be very careful about those things. And moving on to the topic character, the thought waves we form, right, from our past experiences, they form into certain tendencies based on what we learn, how we take them, and how we are using those thoughts in our lives, in our daily lives. And those thought waves will be there in both our conscious mind and subconscious mind, and they form certain tendencies in our behavior, and also some potentialities formed as samskaras in Sanskrit. They are called as samskaras in Sanskrit. These samskaras are built by the continued action of these thought waves. That is why what we think is really important. Sometimes these thought waves build new thought waves that will be ruling our life most of the time. Our mood will be dependent on them. Our words that we speak are also dependent on those thought waves. And the samskaras can be modified by reintroducing the new thought waves in our minds. And this explains the role of manas in the formation of character of a person, and what the yoga philosophy mean by the character. Not all the samskaras are acquired in one lifetime. Sometimes you can observe that a child is already born with a certain kind of a nature and characteristics. The Western science calls it as heredity, but in yoga philosophy it is explained as an individual soul is choosing a family, a bloodline with the same kind of a samskaras or the characteristics to take birth from their bloodline, which matches their characteristics. And a true yogi does not always dig deep into it. They accept the characteristics they always have, and they continue their journey of learning and seeking, and their spiritual quest. And the characteristics they possess, it will help them in their journey. Ultimately, every mind, whether it be lazy or passionate, can be molded and transformed into and disciplined into the perfect yogic lifestyle. Let's move on to the third Yoga Sutra. Tada drishta swarupe vastanam. It says by releasing, clearing all the thought waves in the mind, a man abides his real nature, realizing that he doesn't identify with the thought waves or the impressions he gathered in his lifespan, but he identifies himself with the Atman. By doing that, his mistaken belief as himself with the impressions, the buddhi, the ahamkara, it all vanishes. Imagine these thought waves as the outer coatings of a gem, like all the mud, with all the mud, these thought waves, the ego clashes, all of these are like the mud around a gem. The yogic practices, they polish the gem, make them shine, like it brings out the true spark of the gem. Now the Yoga Sutra number 4. Vrittisarupyamitara. Or if that doesn't happen, the man identifies himself with the thought waves only. And there are different kinds of thought waves, and let's discuss them in detail from the next video.